Hello, hello. This is Veronica again with another segment of Coffee, Tea, and Me. And I misplaced my tea. How about that? Anyway, today I will be sharing with you about unpacking your bags. So, have something coming up soon called What's in Your Duffel Bag. And so today I'm just giving you a taste of what we will be talking about in that webinar and in the 30-day boot camp. But we'll talk about that later. Anyway, let me just dive right in. I do have my notes, so you'll see me looking down. I want to make sure that I give you everything that I have here, okay? So why am I talking about baggage? I'm talking about it because we all have it. We all carry this stuff with us that we've learned or that we've acquired throughout our lives. And many times we don't even know that we are carrying baggage from past relationships, baggage from mommy and daddy and hurt and abusive family secrets. I shared about that recently on social media, on my Instagram page, betterdays.llc. So you can follow me there for updates on different things that I talk about, just to help push you along in your day or help you to break free of your dead end cycles. So, anyway, I talked about family baggage because there are times where in families, everybody knows this one secret, but nobody talks about it. You know, they know it or they whisper about it, or someone new comes into the family and they might share it with them. And then the person that this secret is about, they know everybody is whispering. The person is hurting from this, or the other person who someone may be ashamed, but nobody comes to that person and addresses it. Nobody comes to that person and say, hey, let me help you out. Many times it's used to hurt the person, it's used to manipulate the person or bring them down, you know. But I feel like in situations where people know secrets about someone else, it shouldn't be shared. It shouldn't be perpetuated. It should be where we go to that person and talk to them and help them understand whatever it is that they've done or that they have experienced, that they don't have to carry it by themselves and someone understands. But I'm getting ahead of myself. So I shared about that on social media about family hurt. I'll share with you this. I had an aunt that called me a black witch, and I was a teenager when she said it, but it hurt my feelings so bad. And I don't know if she meant it. I don't know. I just know that as a teenager, hearing it, it cut me so deep. And I never said anything to her about it. I held on to it. Other people heard her say it because there were other people around, but I didn't say anything and I carried that. And do you know, I did not talk to that aunt for years. Years. I did not talk to her because that hurt me. And so, because I carried it and because it wasn't addressed, um, I missed out on years of knowing her. She missed out on years of knowing me. And then when I came around again after I had finally let go, you know, it was like, hey, Ronnie, how you doing? Blah, blah, blah. But those years in between, I could have done something different or developed differently or learned something different. She could have learned something. And true, I've never said anything to her to this day. I've never really spoken publicly about it. There are a few people that know, but family hurt from mommy, from daddy, from aunties, from uncles, from mama's boo, you know, and uncle this and uncle that, or a boyfriend or a girlfriend, a best friend that hurt you. We carry those things, the residue from it all. And we don't say anything because we don't want confrontation. We don't want to feel like how we feel about the situation is going to be ignored or downplayed. We don't want to be belittled. Like, we don't want someone to come to us and say, you know what, you're acting like a baby about this. Well, no, that hurt. It cut deep. But we don't say anything because Big Mama could handle it all. And so we looked up to Big Mama and we wanted to be like Big Mama. So if Big Mama don't complain about it, then I'm not going to complain about it. I'm going to pull my big girl panties up and I'm going to be all right. Well, no, because you're not Big Mama and you're not built like her. And we're in a time now where it's okay to talk about it. It's okay to go to therapy because your cousin bothered you or someone molested you. It's fine to go to therapy now about that. Um, Abuse in relationships, and we carry that distrust, um, other people's baggage, because we meet people and we are in relationship with those people, and so we get close to them and then they start sharing their information and they start dropping all of this on you, and then what? They've unloaded. They've told someone else how they are feeling about a situation, and they've moved on, but you are still carrying it. You are still hurting from it. They may be hurting and you're hurting because they're hurting, but nobody's getting healed. Nobody is going to be heard by a therapist or a counselor or the person that did whatever it is. We can't keep silent anymore. Being silent is a very good indicator that someone is carrying something and holding on to something. I remember growing up, I would have my different relationships with people, and I dated a couple of guys, and it really hurt, some of the things that they did or said to me. I will not go into detail because I might out somebody, but just the things that I experienced in those friendships with people. Now, I feel like I'm a really nice person and I give a lot. I care. I share. Like, when I give, I really give. And when I love someone, I really deeply love them. Um, and I put aside whatever fear and trust. And you have my trust from the beginning, but that trust had been betrayed. And when it was betrayed, I got quiet because I didn't know how to process it. Like, in my mind, I'm thinking I'm the greatest since sliced bread, and I'm doing this and I'm doing that. And I'm showing up in this friendship. I'm showing up in this relationship. I'm giving in this relationship. How could you hurt me like that? And so I got quiet. And so at that time, I was living at home with my mom and I wouldn't say anything. So she watched my pattern because I'm a talker. I talk a whole lot. I've always talked a lot. And she realized that when I got quiet, there was something going on. There was something that I was thinking about doing. There was something that I had been um, contemplating. There was something I'm trying to process. She knew it was something that I was dealing with when I got quiet. So I'm thankful that my mom paid attention to learn me that way. But many times we do get quiet because we don't want that feeling or those words to slip out of our mouths. Then we're afraid we'll have to talk about it. We're afraid that we'll have to address it. So we push it down, we silence that part of us, and we keep going. All the while we're putting it in this bag and we're carrying that because you remember it. It's not going anywhere. You remember it. I remember um, a lot of different situations that happened that crushed me. Now, one of them was so horrific that I really do believe that, oh, I'm sorry about that noise. I really do believe that that's where my post traumatic stress disorder started. That's where my memory loss started. Like, it was so bad that I blanked out and don't remember big chunks of my life because I was so traumatized by what happened. And For me, that trauma took parts of my memories, parts of my good memories from me. And it took years of people talking to me and telling me about those different times in my life so that those memories could come back. But can you imagine being so traumatized that you don't remember what happened in your life? Can you imagine being so traumatized that the only thing you remember are the bad things that have happened? Those are the effects of different things that happen in your life and then carrying it. Because I didn't talk about it to my mom. Like I told her a couple of things, bits and pieces, but I didn't share everything. I didn't share how I felt about someone else having a baby with another girl when I was supposed to be the girl. That cut. I didn't share that. So I put it in the bag and I kept going. I swallowed that and I kept going. People saw me, people knew me, and it hurt. It really did hurt. So I put this brave face on and I kept going. All the while, I was carrying that in that backpack. All the while, I was carrying it in a duffel bag because it had become a part of me. And so you carry it from past relationships, ideas and ideals that were passed down to you, family traits and habits. There are some people who learned bad and poor money management habits from home or from whomever you spend the most time with. And so now you have a mountain of debt that you're carrying around with you. Like, have you ever seen someone's purse and they have all of these bills in their purses? I do not understand it. Like, why are you carrying? Why are you carrying all of these bills around with you? Carrying them in your purse every day, all day long, is not going to get them paid. It's just reminding you of the bad choices you've made. It's reminding you that you need to learn better money management skills. It's reminding you of something that you were taught years ago and it's weighing you down. It is not telling you how to get it done. It is not saying the money is coming to you. It is not saying go get another. It's not saying any of that. It's just hurting your shoulders because you got this big bag with all of these papers in it, with all of these bills in it. For what? Put them in a place where you can go back later and address it. In the meantime, and I'm getting ahead of myself, in the meantime, figure out how to manage that money. Find someone that can teach you better money management skills. Find a financial specialist. They are not always expensive. You can get free help. You can get someone to give you a free consultation. Even if it's not free, the fee that's charged is worth every penny when it can help you change the trajectory of your life. All right? That's for free. So, where did it come from? Grandma, grandpa. Church hurt. Let me tell you about church hurt because I was going to say pastors and people at church. And I could get in trouble for this, and I'm not going to say too much, but there are people who have been hurt in church by one person, maybe two. And for the rest of their lives, they decide, I'm not going to church. Well, it's not the church that hurt you, it was the person. Maybe two people, maybe. Maybe it was the whispers. Yes, the church should be in us, but going to a building, that's not what hurts us. It's the people. And I'm not making excuses for anyone who claims to be Christians and in a church and has hurt someone else and never apologized. That's the thing. Like when you don't recognize that you've done something wrong and hurt a person, you don't go back to them and say, you know what, I was wrong. I claim to be this and I went against everything I believe. I was wrong. We should do that. And when you know that you know you should do that and you haven't done it, that's baggage. That's sitting on your shoulders. It's on your back because you know you should do it. That person that has been hurt in church is not the church, it's the person. And there are ways to move through that, to work through it, do the work, and release that from your life so that you can continue. Some people are wonderful singers but don't go to church because someone hurt them in the choir. Not all choirs are like that, not all churches are like that, not all people are like that. So I want you to understand that you can move beyond that and still fully operate in your gifting. I'm still ahead of myself, so I'm going to wait. So churches, pastors, deacons, mission, all of every these are people who are flawed and hurt other people or have been hurt. All have been hurt in some way. And when we go to the church, it should be like a hospital where those people are doctors and nurses and candy stripers and pharmacists, people who are there to help each other heal through Jesus Christ and his love for us. Um, Seeing bad relationships. I have a friend who, for years, he said he would never get married because he never saw a successful marriage. And so he hung his hat on that. And I don't know if that was really ingrained in him that he did not want to be married because there's some people who do not. And that's okay. That's your choice. That's your prerogative. But we see bad relationships and we decide that is not for me. I am not doing it. So I'm going to be single and I'm going to do my thing. Well, if you know somewhere in you that you might want to, or at some point you wanted to, but you don't, you're not doing it because of what someone else has done. That's more baggage because of what you've seen, not what you've experienced. What else? What else? What else? So I'm going to keep going. So those are examples of hurt. Um, those who've been disrespected, neglect. Those are examples of hurt. And we put that in our bags. We know that we've been neglected, but we don't say we pass. We give an excuse and a pass to that person. Being ignored as a child and not being acknowledged, we feel it and we know it and we put it in that bag and keep carrying it around because somebody ignored us. Somebody didn't nurture that little girl or little boy inside of us. Those are things we put in our bags and we carry it forever, or at least until you've met me, because we're going to break all of that. Okay. So, where does it lead to? It leads to people pleasing. So, especially for those who have been ignored and not acknowledged or neglected as kids, those who have been abused, because in the end, we want someone to love us and love us fully. That's all we need. All we want is for someone to acknowledge us and love us and tell us that we're okay, that we're good, you know? And when we're not getting that, we do all we can to show and prove who we are. When all we have to do is be ourselves, when all we have to do is show up fully as ourselves. I know for me, I am the nerdy, quirky, weird sometimes, funny, talkative, loving, trusting. I'm all of the adjectives, the wonderful adjectives about me. I'm also moody and cranky. And if I don't eat when I need to eat by that 29th minute, I am a different person. I know that about myself. But some things about me I did not show. Um, like the fact that I love God. Like I love him and I serve him and I wouldn't talk about him when I met other people. I wouldn't talk about him when I was in different relationships because they didn't subscribe to the same thing I did. So for me, in order for them to like me, I had to push that side of myself down. I had to put that part of Ronnie away and like, I'll nurture you later, but this person doesn't need to see this part of me. I wasn't fully showing up as who I am. And so I started doing things that the other person liked doing. Veronica had no business at a go-go because that is so not me. I love go-go music, but what was I doing at the church girl at a go-go? It wasn't me. And if you know me, you know I'm such an introvert. I don't like crowds. I cannot handle crowds. But I went to this go-go because he wanted to. I went to these parties because he wanted to, and I wanted him to like me and continue to like me. So I turned into being a people pleaser because at some point in my life, someone ignored me. And I know who that someone is, and I'm past that now. But yeah, I was ignored and I was used in a lot of ways because of my giving nature, because of my trusting nature. And so I tap dance around other relationships and I wasn't myself. So people pleasing, procrastination. And so with that, you put things on the back burner or you ruminate about it and like, okay, I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. And you procrastinate because somewhere along the way you put your all into something and it didn't work out. Like you went full force because everything in you said do it and you fell flat. And you're like, nope, I'm going to take my time and make sure that this is the right thing. So for me, I think about something and then I think about it again and I think about what I thought about and then I rethink all of that. That is procrastination. Okay. That is me going, I don't fully trust myself. That's another example of what happens when we don't address issues in our lives. We start doubting ourselves. So, where we were fully um, vested in ourselves and fully aware of who we are and what we want, something happened to make us shake. It shook our foundation. And so now we're not sure of ourselves. Now we second guess ourselves. Now we need someone else to affirm what we already know we should be doing because we don't fully trust our own thoughts. I can remember being in therapy and I was talking to my therapist and I said, hey, all of these things that I do, I don't think I should do them anymore because every time I do it, I get hurt and I don't trust my own thoughts. And she says to me, all of those wonderful things about you, never change them. Don't change them for anybody. You keep being you. Just learn some boundaries. I said, okay. And she says, yes, fully trust yourself. You know full well inside of you what it is you want. Go after it. Don't second guess yourself anymore. You're smart. You're kind. You're thoughtful. Like I think about things. I think about the consequence. I think about the outcome and what I want that outcome to look like. There's no way to get to that outcome, or there's no sense in delaying that outcome with procrastination and second guessing myself. So now I have to be sure and certain of who I am and my abilities. That's where we have to be. But when you've been hurt and you're carrying all this stuff, it blocks all of that because all you can concentrate on is all of the stuff you're carrying. So it leads to procrastination, people pleasing, shame, depression, low self worth, self doubt, ruined relationships, repeated cycles, stress, suspicious nature, high blood pressure, other health concerns, diabetes, obesity, fear, fear of moving forward, fear of trusting people, fear of trusting yourself, ruined relationships. So let's just park there for a minute or put it in idle for a second. So ruined relationships can come from all of this stuff. when you don't address the issues of your past, and you carry all of that into the new relationship. And who this person is meeting is the hurt, broken, damaged person who is afraid to address anything and has not begun the process of healing. So we go in there with these bags, and we expect the other person to help us carry our bag. No, that is unfair to the other person to expect them to help you carry that bag when you're not ready to address it, when you're not ready to go through it, when you're not ready to say, you know what? I want something different. And in order for me to get something different, I need to let go of these issues. I need to unpack this stuff and deal with it so that I can be free, so that I can be lighter, so that I can fully show up in this relationship and show you all the wonderfulness. Is that a word? All the wonderfulness that is me, all the quirky, all the weird, all the wonderful, all the beautiful, loving, kind, patient, trusting, giving person that I'm talkative, person that I am. I need to be able to be free so that you see what you're getting for real. And I see what I'm getting from you for real. In order for us to get to that point of that true love, that untainted love, that truthfulness and that transparency, we've got to first be transparent with ourselves. We've got to first see where we are and what needs to be unpacked and start the work. Otherwise, you keep carrying that same stuff into the next relationship, or you continue bringing to you or attracting to you the same stuff that you dealt with in the past. For instance, so I promote healthy relationships. And if you've seen my social media posts, you'll see my hashtag, I promote healthy relationships. And I say that because I don't want people to think that I will tell you to leave a relationship or break up with someone. I will say this, if someone is abusive to you, then you might want to strongly consider getting help. There is abusive partner intervention, and relationships can be healed if both parties want that healing. But if one party does not want it, it might be safe to exit or find a safe way to exit. So I'm going to put that caveat there. I'm going to always promote healthy relationships, healing in relationships. And if it doesn't work, your healing can be done separately. Okay. So in these relationships, for me, I always attracted the person who was unavailable, because somewhere in my life, someone was unavailable to me. And it wasn't necessarily a boyfriend initially. It was someone else close to me. And I won't go into details about that because they didn't know that they were being unavailable. They didn't know that that's the way I would interpret it. So growing up, I never talked about it because I didn't have the words for it. It wasn't until I became an adult, after going through these different relationships and sitting with myself, seeing that I was the common denominator. And then what was the common factor there? All of the guys were unavailable too. Either they were unavailable because they didn't want to give of themselves. They were unavailable because they were married. One guy didn't know he was married. I didn't find out till after we broke up that he was married when I met him, and then he got a divorce. That was interesting. They have a substance abuse problem, so they're not fully available here. They didn't want more than a casual friendship with me, unavailable for what type of relationship that I wanted. I wanted to be married one day. One had a girlfriend for many years that while we dated, and I didn't know. These things I closed my eyes to, but all of those gentlemen, those boys were unavailable. Another guy said to me, listen, we just spend time together. And I was like, wait, it's been like 2-3 years. What are you talking about? We're just spending time together. Unavailable. So I sat with myself and I was like, God, what is it? And he said to me, because you're unavailable. All of those years of you putting in your bags who you truly are and not showing and not being true to yourself, not being transparent and not honoring who you are, all of you weren't all fully available yourself. So you attracted what you were. I'm not saying that an abused person attracts abusive people. Sometimes people pleasing. Sometimes we don't honor ourselves. Sometimes we don't trust our instinct about a person. Okay, those things attract people. The types of people who will hurt us. And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with who you are at your core. I'm saying be sure of who you are at your core and don't allow anybody to disrespect or dishonor it, not even you. So, all those years of people not being available, then I find a friendship where the person is somewhat available, ready to move forward. And I'm like, woo, pump the brakes because I don't know. And God is like, you're here. This person is accepting you as you are, just as you are, knows your history, knows all about you. You've done the work, you've gone through therapy, you've unpacked your bags, and this person is here. This is the person you've been praying about, the type of person you've been praying about. Yeah, I could easily go into this friendship and ruin the relationship because of my fear, because I'm afraid that they may do what the others did, because they may be, show themselves later on as not available. And then I'm not being available. I could very well go in and say, I'm not going to show you how close to God I am. And I'm not going to show you how vulnerable I can be or how emotional I can be. I can go in and be stoic. That would ruin the friendship because I'm not being true to me. Do you understand what I'm saying? So that's how these bags and this stuff can weigh you down and keep you from having true friendships. Forgiving your friends. I had to do that with a good girlfriend. We're friends to this day, but there was a time where we weren't talking and it hurt, but she had some things to do. I had some things to do. We had some things to let go of. Our healing had to take place in two different places. And now, like, she's my ace again, and I'm her support and her back, got her back to this day, no matter what, because we had to do the work. You know, we had to do the work and we had to let go of some things and heal in some areas before we could be friends, true friends, unapologetic, accepting of each other just how we are. We had to let go of some things. We had to unpack those bags. You get it? So, why do we need to unpack? I have a few questions for you. So I want you to write these down and then go back and you can take time later on to answer them, unless you have quick answers now. Um, so what keeps you, is that where, okay, why do we need to unpack? We need to unpack because it keeps us from fully being ourselves. That stuff is heavy, y'all. It make your back hurt, your shoulders hurt. Like there are some people who carry stress in their shoulders. I carry it in my shoulders and my stomach and my lower back. A lot of times the pain that I feel in those areas is stress from trying to carry something, thinking about it too much and not sharing it and getting wisdom and understanding from God. Doesn't allow you to trust. Sometimes you stop trusting God in this process. I'm not even going to tell you a story. You stop trusting your voice, you stop trusting what you're hearing, and you're doubting everything because the stuff that you are carrying, that's what you see as real. That's what you see as true. That's what you see and you know as fact. Everything else you see after that and everything else you hear after that, you second guess it because this stuff on your back, oh, you know this well. You know it very well. You stop trusting. It keeps you from giving of yourself in relationships. And sometimes it keeps you from allowing others to love you. It keeps you from allowing someone else to love you fully, honestly, with intention. Like they wake up in the morning and their thought is, how can I show her love today? Man, if someone is thinking like that towards me, oh my goodness. All right, so other reasons why we need to unpack. It helps you to feel lighter and freer. So you know how when you're in school and you have to carry all your books in your backpack from classroom to classroom because you didn't have time in between class to go to your locker, or after school when you have homework in every subject. So you have to bring those thick books home with you. Remember how that felt on your back? Like we were bent over like this, carrying those bags. And then you get home, you just, whew. Remember how light you felt when you could finally put that bag down? Or when you had a big, big, big paper, your final paper in your college class. I remember mine was in my psychology class, philosophy class. I loved my philosophy class. And I waited until the last night. Like really, I waited till the last night to start my paper. Not finish, start my paper. And I had so much pressure on me. I stayed up all night long, but I had to because I needed to get this done. So I'm like typing away, typing away, typing away. And I'm like, oh my God, I got so much pressure on me. And when I finished that paper and I turned it in at that 12 o'clock class, I was like, yes, I feel so much better. I can go take a nap now. It's like that. It's like that. You feel lighter and free. You're able to love. You are able to welcome and walk in your purpose. Oh my goodness. When you are way down, you can't find your purpose, or you don't show up fully in your purpose. You don't serve well in your purpose when you're way down. But when you get the weight off of you, your mind is clear for creative ways to continue working in your purpose. Your mind is clear because you're not going to God anymore going, this person hurt me. This person hurt me. Get them. Listen, I had those David prayers. I wanted God to like take people out. Now I've changed since then, but I did. And so now my thoughts are, my prayers are not, God, this person did this. You see what they did? I mean, sometimes, but do you see what they did? I'm not doing that every time. Now it's, God, can you show me the strategy to move forward in this purpose that you've shown me, that you've given me? God, can you open my mind, download to me the creative juices I need to like move forward in this purpose, because these people need to hear what you have to say and I'm your mouthpiece. How can you be that mouthpiece fully when you got so much on your back? How can you be free when you got so much on your back? Um, it allows you to love others better. It allows you to break dead end cycles and habits. Let me tell you something. When you start unpacking and you start seeing where all of this stuff began and how it has affected you, and then you look at your children and you're like, you know what? I don't want my children to deal with this. So you start breaking the cycles. You start breaking those habits, and you start adopting new behaviors, new patterns. And that's what you start teaching to your children. You start talking to your children and saying, hey, I did this. I experienced this. This is where it led me. So let me help you and show you a different way. Listen, children are not going to always receive that right away. We didn't, but keep talking. Keep talking. There are things now that my 7-year-old will come back to me and say, Mommy, you said this and I didn't understand it until this happened. Yes, this is a 7-year-old that I have these grown people conversations with sometimes. But at the time when I talked to her, I didn't know that she heard me because she didn't look like she was listening. It was like, okay, mommy, again, another lecture. You're telling me something else. But then she'd come back and say, mommy, remember you said blah, 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 blah. When my friend did this and you said this was going to happen. And guess what? It happened. I'm not doing that. Okay, let's pray she will listen to me when she's 18 or 21. But keep talking, keep showing your children something different so that you can break the cycle. Starting with yourself, you can do it. You can do it. Um, the reason you should unpack is so that you can think. And remember, I was talking about those downloads and being creative and thinking of ways to just change your life. You can't do that when you're thinking about all the stuff that's in your bag. To be mentally and emotionally healthy and stable. And I'm going to put it in idle for a second. You know, those people, or you could be that person yourself or me who goes off because someone bumped into them, because someone stepped on their shoe, because the people didn't put ketchup in their fast food bag and they go all the way off. It wasn't because of those small things. It was because of everything else that they've been dealing with and carrying and have not spoken on. When you can release all of that, it helps you to be stable. It helps you to be emotionally sound. When you can release and unpack all of that baggage, I want to be there. I want to stay in that space. So here are ways to unpack. Okay. First, you want to ask yourself, what have I been carrying? What have you been carrying? Write a list. You will be surprised at when you start writing, you may come up with one or two, and then you might have to go back and write 5 or 10 more. It's okay. Keep writing. Every time something comes to you, keep writing. You might have to cry through this thing. You might have to write a paragraph through this thing and cry while you're writing it. It's good. It's purging, it's cleansing, it's getting it out of you so that you can be what? Free and light. Ask yourself, what have I been carrying? What has the weight of carrying it done to me? What has the weight of carrying it done to me? What has it done? It's kept me from moving forward. It's kept me from applying to those jobs that I wanted to apply to. It's kept me from going to college like I said I want to. It's kept me from completing like I said I want to. It's kept me from saying hi to the guy at the store that I go to all the time because I'm afraid. It's kept me from accepting an invitation to lunch. We can't really do it during COVID, but it's kept you away from it in the past. It's kept you from having healthy relationships of all kinds. It's kept you from talking to your children and being transparent. It's kept you from having your relationship with God because you're afraid to go to Him and say, God, this is what happened. Guess what? He already knows. He's waiting for you to come to Him and say, Father, I need help. This hurt me. It's keeping you away from that relationship with Him. It's keeping you from showing up as a fully functional and prosperous entrepreneur or businesswoman, businessman. It's kept you from those things. It's kept you from realizing your dreams or dreaming big or bigger. It's kept you from that. I'm helping you out, okay? Why am I carrying it? Why am I carrying it? That's for you to answer. Why? Because someone else carried theirs? Because it's expected of you? Because you think that's what you're supposed to do? You're carrying it because you're ashamed of it. You're afraid someone might know. Guess what? Somebody probably already does. And it's okay. At some point, we have to stop thinking about what someone else is going to say about our lives. They didn't give you that life. They can't heal your life. They can't change your life. Only you and God can. So let's take the focus off of what someone else might say and do and think, and put the focus on what can I do to change my life? What can I do to unpack this? What do I need to say to God to get his attention? Let me help you with that. God help me. Period. God help me. Why is it important to me to put it down now? Why is it important now? Why now? We have all these years behind us, but why now? I want to change my life. I don't want this anymore. I don't want to carry this into the next decade. I don't want my children to suffer anymore. I don't want to be in this job anymore, and I really want to do my own thing. Why is it important to you right now in this moment? And then ask yourself this last question. What do I really want? What do I want? No matter how big or small, no matter how crazy or outlandish you think it might be, what is it that you really want? And then ask yourself the question, is the life that I'm living right now leading me to where I want to be or what I want to do? Are the things I'm doing now leading me to accomplish these wants? Are they? Are the traits and the habits that I have right now, are they going to be beneficial to help me get what I want? Some of them may be, some of them may not be. Drop the things that don't work for you and don't serve you, and then move forward. Change those behaviors, add something different. Because listen, when you unpack those bags, you have to learn something different to replace it. Okay? Ask yourself, what do I want? And so I mentioned that um, I'll be moving forward with the What's in Your Duffel Bag seminar. And so in that seminar, I'm going to talk about a lot of what you heard today, but then I'm going to go deeper and help you with how to do it, why it's important to do it. And after the webinar, there will be opportunities for individuals to work with me one-on-one as well as in a group, where we will carve out your own path, your individual path to unpack. Because not everybody wants a therapist or counselor. Sometimes you need a life coach to help you with the day to day, the step by step process for you. And so the webinar is tomorrow, Sunday, March 28th. It is at 7 p.m. It will be on Zoom. You must register. The cost is $97. However, if you are watching this today on Saturday, March 27th, then you get the special VIP rate. And you have to go onto the website to register, use VIP now. And so I will place all of that information in the chat so that you'll get that. And you will find that on Eventbrite. No more bags. No, on Eventbrite, it will be dropthebags.eventbrite.com. Dropthebags.eventbrite.com. And that is the webinar for Sunday, March 28th at 7 p.m. And listen, sis, listen, brother, if you are ready to let go, if you are ready to unpack and release so that you can fully show up, then you want to be a part of this seminar. And when you're ready to move forward and have your own process reach out to me. You can do this. Um, because I really want you to be free. And the time is now to change our lives. The time is now to let go so that you can soar and not be weighed down by someone else's baggage, not even by your own. The time is now because, if anything, COVID-19 has shown us that life can go quickly. And that dash in between your born date and your expiration date, that's the time we have. So why not now? Why not make it great now? Okay. So go to drop the bags .eventbrite.com. Drop the bags.eventbrite.com. You can always follow me on the betterdays.llc on Instagram, or Veronica B Speaks on Facebook, where you'll see all of the same information. You'll see the flyers, you'll see the upcoming events, and I want to see your face. I want you to join me. All right. So don't forget, tomorrow, March 28th, is the What's in Your Duffel Bag seminar. And I have some more special announcements there, and I hope to see you in the room. Take care now.